Can Swarm be developed? How close-minded or open-minded are the Texans heading into the draft? Are they handcuffing themselves with this culture stuff? Let's go inside the locker room.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the locker room on YouTube. You know what it is. Let's get it. Hey. Locker room. Yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk. Yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize every angle's what we really do. We the source. We the pulse of the city too. Landlocked. Got the game in the headlock.
All right, let's talk about this. The whole culture thing with the Texans. It is the locker room. I am Landry Locker. You can hear me, see me. 4 o'clock S&L. Shout out to everyone that's in that community, as well as with Cody Stutes, myself. We'll be having the draft party day 3, 11 a.m. Karbach in the Biergarten, right next to Pizza and Pints. And the cabin fever continues, but I want to ask this question. I kind of want to attack this from the Texans' point of view. And I'll be at the press conference on Monday with D'Amico Ryans and players. They're also going to have some players available on Tuesday. So I'm thinking of asking D'Amico Ryans some form of this question just so that we can get some sort of clarity, or maybe as much as D'Amico is willing to give, as to what's, we know that you have a certain type of guy. We know that there's like a right kind of guy, and y'all emphasize it, and it seems to be a real thing. I'm not questioning it. It's not a fake culture. It definitely exists in the locker room, and with some of the decisions that they've made, I think there's a clear, authentic willingness for D'Amico Ryans and Nick Caserio to put that to practice. So it's not one of those things where, like in the past, where you kind of roll your eyes whenever you have Bill O'Brien talking about culture, and it's like, well, I mean, you're a lunatic, so you're not really putting it to practice. And quite frankly, you don't really put these guys in position. So it's not one of those things. And every coach mentions it. There is an authentic feel that the Texans have a culture. There also appears to be a little bit more of a willingness to bring in guys that maybe the Texans of the past would not have brought in. Like the Stephon Diggs is one of the examples. I don't think in the past they're willing to do that, but they did it, and he did a good job, and he did a good job of blending in to what they did. But my question is this: as we approach the NFL draft, can Swarm be developed? We know these guys are young men. Now, you can get guys that are wise beyond their years, like the Will Andersons of the world. CJ Stroud, I think, is an example. Kamari Lassiter seems like kind of an old soul. You can find these kids. It's probably not overly difficult, especially with how much of a pool of guys you have to pick from that are wise beyond their years, and they immediately fit into your culture. And you know, the second that you talk to them, that they're already young men, and they're going to fit in just fine. And that's good, especially when you find a Will Anderson, who's a Pro Bowl player and was the defensive rookie of the year, and CJ Stroud, who is one of the faces of the franchise, and he's the offensive rookie of the year, and he appears to have all the tools in the foundation, or Kamari Lassiter, who's kind of cut from that same cloth. That's awesome. But what about when you're drafting at 25 and there might be someone who's not, quote, swarm off the top? Can he develop into that? Do you have the patience to do it? Is there non-negotiables? And where is the line in the sand? That's what I wonder when it comes to D'Amico Ryans and this culture. And there's a few guys that we've brought up and talked about possibly falling to the Texans because of these type of characteristics. And those are the 3 names that I kind of want to focus on. Number 1 is Tet McMillan. I don't know if Tet McMillan falls to the Texans or not. I would assume he does not, but if he does, then it's obvious that other teams have the concerns. Does D'Amico Ryans look at Tet McMillan and say, well, we can develop this guy into our kind of guy. He can follow the lead of Nico Collins and the other guys in the locker room, and you can figure it out? Really, you're just talking about love of football, and you're talking about, in his own words, quote, I needed to grow up after his freshman year. Those are his own quotes, and rightfully so. I mean, God knows, even longer than that, it took a lot of people, including myself. Then there's Luther Burden. Luther Burden, I've used the quote from Clarence Hill, who said he talked to someone in Missouri that said that he's not at the front of the line in practice, had a down season last year. There's questions about how much Luther Burden loves football, and there appears to be kind of a feel, and you never know when it comes to the draft, but there does appear to be kind of a feel that Luther Burden could be there for the Texans at 25, and he could fall into the second round. So that's another guy. The next one is the one that's becoming the most intriguing, and that is Walter Nolan, who is a top 5 talent in this draft. And he's a very popular name in Philadelphia right now. Philadelphia, we know that they've got Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter. They didn't pick up Davis's 5th-year option. Philadelphia it seems like the most popular name when it comes to potential draft prospects for the Eagles, making that defense even better, continuing to churn the talent on the roster, and looking to add an elite top 5 talent on the back end of the first round to add to the Super Bowl winning team that they already have. Walter Nolan. Whether or not they get that opportunity, who knows? But there's talk that Philadelphia and the Chiefs, the two teams that participate in the Super Bowl, may be looking to move up. We'll talk about later on tonight on the Good Friday edition of the Locker Room if the Texans should be willing to trade Philadelphia or Kansas City when it comes to on the back end of the draft. If you want to move back to 31 or 32, should the Texans be willing to do that? We know they got the history with the Eagles. We also know that the Chiefs are kind of the team that they're chasing. And naturally, whenever you make a trade with those two organizations, there's probably a little bit of hesitation and a little bit of a concern. So I wonder if D'Amico Ryans looks at Walter Nolan and he says that perhaps he can get the most out of these guys if Walter Nolan is there. And I know we've been talking offense this whole time, but if at 25, a top 5 talent is there, don't you got to at least consider it? We've seen it with the Titans where Jeffrey Simmons kind of fell in their lap, and it was obviously a different thing. We saw Jalen Carter. The Eagles were able to acquire him. What about Walter Nolan? Let's hear him say in his own words what he thinks he brings to the table. This was at the Combine.
I feel like I do everything. Like I said, it's kind of hard to find somebody that look like me and do the things I do. So that's all it is.
Got examples of what you do that others can't?
I feel like I get off the ball better than a lot of people. I feel like it's just my versatility. Like a lot of people probably gonna get to the league and play one position. I want to play everything. So.
I mean, and you're talking about a guy that was the number 1 recruit in the nation. Went to A&M when they were kind of feeling themselves, and then he went to Ole Miss and got paid, and he was a first-team All-American. It's talked that maybe the practice habits aren't where they should be. There's nothing like crazy. We're not talking about any like crazy off-field stuff, but you're talking about, I think you could probably say a position of need, D-line, and you're talking about a guy that I don't think he gets to 25, but if he goes to 25, then I just don't like if D'Amico Ryans can't get the most out of that guy and the culture that you've built, that you hang your hat on, the good old swarm.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
Then what's the point of building it? Like if people can't, if young men, damn near not even legal drinking age, can't walk into your culture with that type of talent and grow and develop, then what's really the point of it? What's really the point of it? Like, what's the payoff? Is it iron sharpening iron? Okay, but what if it's already a complete thing? And I don't know what their line in the sand is with the Texans. I said this earlier today on S&L. Like, I don't see them trading for like a Tyreek Hill. I don't see them even drafting Bond. But what is the line in the sand when it comes to the Texans and what they are or aren't willing to do? Is it a finished product or not. And again, Monday, be on the lookout for the stream at 10:30, and I'll ask D'Amico about this, and maybe he'll give us a little something, because I think it's an interesting thing. I don't think there's really a wrong or right answer. A lot of teams are willing to roll the dice more than others. Some stay on that line. Kansas City, they seem willing to do it. Philadelphia, not too concerned. Where are the Texans at? If Walter Nolan's on the clock and he's available, and let's say some of these receivers are not there, or offensive linemen, do the Texans entertain the possibility of just making the defense a lot better, or borderline elite? It's already a borderline elite defense, and seeing what they can get from him. I think they should be open to it. I can't say whether or not they are. Is he the NIL version of Clowney? Francisco says. I don't know that I would say that, but maybe that's a good comparison. He's a first-team All-American. I know Clowney at South Carolina, there was talk about effort and everything, but maybe that's a good comparison. Both top recruits, question marks, but Clowney still went number one. Walter Nolan did not. Clowney was never an All-American, though. I will say that. He was an All-American. He was two-time first-time All-American 2012 and 2013. So I stand corrected on that. He was definitely first-team All-American. So a lot of that could have been reputation, but who knows? I think Walter Nolan is probably a little bit better. And the other thing is he's going into a situation and a culture that I think is favorable. I don't know that Clowney, you can say the same. Jeremiah on the soup. We're bringing this up, huh?
You ain't never hate.
Swarm high-grade marijuana called Kush on the streets.
Jeremiah Chavez, he's carrying this over from S&L. Shout out to Jeremiah. I appreciate you for riding for both, my friend. Hope you'll be at Karbach on the 26th at 11 a.m. in the Biergarten, hanging out with myself and Stutes, and you can see arguments like this and see him eat that nasty-ass brisket pizza. He says brisket is overall top-tier barbecue meats. That's a wild take from earlier. Also, any draft day trades for players you would like to see. So I just don't think – I think brisket's overrated at this point. I put ribs, sausage, maybe even turkey above it if it's really, really good turkey. And most places have multiple types of sausage. So I put that up there. I like burnt ends. I think burnt ends don't get the love that they get. And I know that's kind of a form of it, but I was just telling Stutes brisket on pizza is a joke. And then he started talking nonsense, trying to show off his food hipsterness. Brisket's just overrated. I think it's the most annoying thing is all these people thinking they're doing something with brisket. You just set it in there, man. You didn't do nothing. You didn't do anything. A lot of it looks terrible too. To be honest with you, I think everybody thinks they make the best brisket. Maybe I'm just kind of sour to that, but I'll eat some brisket. It's not like disgusting. I'm not going to say that. We'll put some sauce on it. Some people don't even put sauce on it. As far as the trades go, are there any draft day trades that I would like to see? I would like to see the Texans trade back. For sure. I just don't really feel comfortable with the Texans with all the stuff they need to get, having that gap between 25 and 58. I don't really feel comfortable with that. So if they can stockpile the day 2 picks, especially with their success, I would feel pretty good about that.
High-grade marijuana called Kush on the streets.
On the chat, Christian says brisket is mad overrated. Give me some good smoked turkey ham over that any day. See, I'm with you. I don't really understand the manliness like factor of brisket. It's weird. Don't put sauce on my meat. And yeah, okay, you smoked a brisket. Good job, dude. Great. Space City Inc. Do you eat turkey with your Bud Light? I've never been a Bud Light guy. I've consumed thousands of Miller Lights in my day, and that's not an exaggeration. I won't go too in depth on that, but nah, I've never been a Bud Light guy at all. So no, the answer to that is no, I do not. Like, subscribe. Good advice from Herman. Here goes. This is it. I know this is coming. K Hogan. Oh, I thought you were saying I hate brisket because I've never had good brisket. K Hogan says you hate brisket because you had to do a show with a guy who wouldn't stop talking about his brisket and silently obsessing over his massage room at his house. In fairness, his brisket was pretty good. Like, it was as good of brisket as there was. So I'll give him the credit there, but he was definitely the brisket guy. You're talking about John Lopez, the OG. He does make some of the best brisket that you've ever had. I'll give him that. The sauce sucks now, though. I will say, I'm just gonna be completely honest. The sauce, when he used to make it, was good. The bottle version is not the same sauce. So the sauce is ass. It used to be good, but his brisket's solid. He knows what he's doing with that. So I'll give him. I'm not just gonna hate to hate, but the sauce now is absolute ass. I've seen him try to give Texans players it, and they kind of threw it away in the locker room. So it's trash now. It's not the same. I promise you. Everybody knows that, and too, but they're nice about it. Used to be a treat when you get it in that plastic bottle. Now it's just not good. Very vinegary, very watery. That's just my opinion. Jeremiah Chavez says, but a trade for a player. Okay, so you're saying trade back? I want a running back, man. So I would like to trade back and then get Judkins. I think Judkins is starting to become my favorite running back because of his background, his 2-year body of work of being the man at Ole Miss and carrying the load. And then you combine that with being a complimentary back at Ohio State, the athleticism that he showed at the combine, how smart he is, how Mixon's getting a little bit old. So I think he could end up being your every down back next year. If Mixon misses time, you have someone there. So I would like to trade back and then get Judkins. If I don't think Hampton goes that far, so that would be a problem. Maybe Henderson, but when you trade back with the extra pick, I would like to see you be willing to take a running back a little bit earlier, because I think multiple running backs would help this team out significantly, especially with where the wide receivers is. I think you can find value in the mid rounds of the draft. Deshaun Mathis, however you want to say it. And I'm sure there's a way to say it, but however I say it, he says, how early could we take a cornerback or safety? I know it's not a glaring need, but we definitely need more depth behind the starters. See, this was a really good safety draft, especially with guys who could do what Petrie does in the nickel. And I think it's kind of a shame that I don't know that they're going to be in that area, but there's good safety value in, like, they don't have a 4th round pick right now. That might be kind of a gold mine. I could see a safety run happening in round 3. Maybe if they get an extra pick, they're willing to take a corner, because I do think that corner is kind of getting slept on. And I'm not sitting here saying they should take a corner in the 1st or 2nd round, but I think, like, when we look at the depth chart, I know they signed Ronald Darby to potentially be the 3rd corner, and I know you feel as good about your top 2 corners as any other team in the league, but the corner depth would be nice. I don't think you want Jalen Petrie guarding slot guys too much. I actually think, like, sticking with the barbecue theme, I think a lot of the meat was left on the bone. A lot of meat was left on the bone with opportunities for opposing teams to take advantage of Petrie in coverage. But I could see a corner maybe day 3, something like that. Do I like pasture-raised bison? I have no idea what that is, my friend. Is that like some sort of like grass-fed stuff? Is that what we're doing? No. The massage room, I think he was just trying to be creepy. It was just a game room, I think. But yeah. Food is food. Some of y'all ain't been hungry enough. Yeah, some people love their food. Oh, dude, you don't even gotta tell me, Dre. Dre 350Z on the chat. He says you have to get a brisket sandwich from Buc-ee's. I have. They have that 3 meter too. Buc-ee's is underrated barbecue. I'm not sitting here saying it's like one of better Texas, but the turkey and brisket and sausage mix sandwich with like some pickles and stuff. Yeah, their brisket goes in. I actually had someone that knows Killins, that works with Killins, that said Buc-ee's has like the most underrated brisket in the state. And that's saying a lot. This is like Lockhart's kind of the barbecue capital of the world. But they said that Buc-ee's has like some underrated brisket. And this is someone who worked really close with them. So, yeah, very interesting. Let's revisit and be sure to like the video. It is the locker room. S&L 4:00. We got the super stream on draft day, Thursday, Friday, before the party on Saturday. Out there at Karbach. But the Caserio croutons that he gave us as we approached DeMeco Ryans speaking for the first time the month of the draft on Monday. The 5 croutons that Caserio gave us, revisiting. Number 1, they're very flexible in the draft at wide receiver and tight end. If we are to take Caserio at his word, they're not pigeonholing anyone who worked primarily in the slot. They think Christian Kirk is a guy who can move around. They sound open to having a tight end that can move around. I don't think Irv Smith's signing has any impact on anything. That's like a nothing burger. So people were asking earlier today, like, how does that impact? I don't think it impacts anything in the draft at all. They know they need more running back depth. Nick Caserio acknowledged that. When you say Joe Mixon was a Pro Bowler, and then you say Damian Pierce was a good kick returner, and Dare Gumbawale, his value is in the kick game, they know, which is encouraging. They know that they need a better running back room, which is good after all the years of neglect. Despite wholesale actions, Caserio insists the O-line changes aren't wholesale. Weird, but that's just kind of what he's doing. Maybe he's trying to overcompensate and not put too much pressure on anyone, but it's clearly been wholesale. We've seen it. But Caserio multiple times kind of insisted, no, it's not a wholesale thing. It kind of is, if we're being honest. Kind of is a little bit. The next thing, I think there's high possibility of a lot of activity on day 2 and 3. And we'll get into whether or not the Texans should be active with the 2 creme de la creme teams in the league in a sec. But I think there's high possibility for moving around on day 2 or day 3 if we're to read between the lines of what old Nick had to say about the draft. And then number 5, how much? Who knows? We go back to, can swarm guys be developed? But they're going to be looking for culture guys. Not choir boys, as Nick Caserio has said, but culture boys. Culture guys. So that's the 5 Caserio croutons through the large word salad that he put out there. What are the riskiest picks that Nick Caserio and DeMeco Ryans have made? It's a small sample size, and it's different examples, but I was kind of taking this task on and just kind of asking the question, what are the riskiest picks that these 2 guys have made in their 2 years together working the draft? And I think there's clear answers on 2, and I'm doing DeMeco and Caserio, not just Caserio. But I think the riskiest and the one that was the most scrutinized would be trading up for Juice Scruggs. I think Juice Scruggs, the trade up for Juice Scruggs was scrutinized, and look at it, looks bad. He hasn't played good. He hasn't performed well. His spot on the team is not guaranteed. I call him Juice Blacklock now. because I think he could be a second-round pick that's gone before year 3. But Juice Scruggs, risk it, no biscuit. There. So he's number 1. And then number 2, you can maybe say Tank Dell because of size. But at the point in which they drafted Tank Dell, I don't know that the risk was too high. It's not like they drafted him in the 2nd round or anything like that. Tank Dell, not too risky, but really they haven't taken a lot of risks. There hasn't been like, oh my gosh, why are they taking this guy here? Some would say, well, you trade the Will Anderson trade. I mean, that's expensive, but you're basically drafting a top 3 player in the draft and a guy that they may have had at the very tippity top. We've never really positional value came into play with the quarterback. They did the right thing with CJ, but I don't think that they had any question marks about what type of football player Will Anderson would be. So the riskiest thing that I guess that they've done would be trading up for Juice Scruggs. That would be their riskiest. They really haven't done much outside of that. So could there be a little bit more risk? Don't know. Maybe they're going to be safe. Who knows? But I would anticipate that they're going to keep it pretty close to the vest. We have rumors in the NFL that the Eagles and the Chiefs are looking to trade up. So the Eagles at 32 and the Chiefs at 31 are looking to trade up. When you're a really good team, you're a Super Bowl team, you think you can get one significantly impactful player, and that just gets you right back to where you were, and you continue to draft at a decent level, and players want to play where you are. I guess this is kind of where you're at. So the Chiefs and the Eagles are looking to trade up. Now, before we even get into whether or not the Texans should trade with them, it should be mentioned, and it's been mentioned throughout this process, that the Minnesota Vikings at 24 only have 4 draft picks, and the chances that they trade are probably better than the chances that they actually make a pick at 24. So if these teams are willing to trade up, they might hop over you. Now, I don't know that Philadelphia really needs what the Texans need. They're pretty good at receiver. They're pretty damn good at offensive line. So I don't know that that would be too risky, but Kansas City could be a problem. I mean, there could be a situation where if Kansas City wants to move up to 24, they want to move up to 7 spots. And typically that would be like a 3rd and a 7th or something like that. With a chart, I think the Worthy trade was a 4th and a 7th or something like that. And like some sort of flop. I don't know. And along with the 1st, obviously, with Buffalo last year. But if Philadelphia trades in front of you, it's not the end all be all, because I don't know that y'all want the same thing. Although if they go get Nolan, maybe a lot of people would be a little bit disappointed that a top 5 player that could have made the Texans defense go from fringe elite to elite is gone. So that could be a little bit frustrating, but it wouldn't be the end of the world. Kansas City, we saw what happened to them against the Eagles. Their offensive line was a problem. So if the Texans are going offensive line, like if Banks is there or if Booker's there or someone they like on the O-line, Kansas City might be able to hop over you and get them an offensive lineman. So that might be something to keep an eye on. Now, the question is, would you trade with Kansas City? For me, I say absolutely. If you want to get extra picks, you can trade with Kansas City. I know Buffalo, it didn't look great because we saw what happened with Xavier Worthy, but that's more of a Buffalo problem. If Buffalo would have taken, say, McConkey instead of Coleman, and I think they had that opportunity, I don't think we would be talking about it. Let me make sure that's factually correct, but I'm pretty positive that McConkey went later. Yeah, that's what happened. Like, we wouldn't be talking about the Worthy situation. They got Keon Coleman. They got a lot of viral videos, but they didn't get what that was. Yeah, Ladd McConkey went the pick after directly, and Chargers traded up. So as much as people say, well, Buffalo, you can't do that. It's the same thing with the Clyde Edwards-Helaire thing that I bring up like 75 times in the draft. Like Kansas City drafting Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the first round, it wasn't a problem that they drafted a running back. It was a problem that they drafted the wrong running back. They didn't take Jonathan Taylor. If they had, who the hell knows what that looks like. But Buffalo, the problem wasn't that they traded with Kansas City. It was that they took Keon Coleman instead of Ladd McConkey. If you trade back and you get McConkey and you put him with Josh Allen and everything they got, and I'm not dismissing what Keon Coleman can be. It just seems like Ladd McConkey's the better guy. But if you do that, I don't think we're really talking as much about it. So I think that if the Texans want to trade with the Chiefs, why the hell not? Why the hell not? It's not that Buffalo traded with him. It's that Buffalo took Keon Coleman instead of McConkey. You imagine Josh Allen throwing passes to Ladd McConkey out of the slot with those tight ends and then Shakir going deep. I mean, that's scary. So that's their mistake. But I mean, there is, I don't think it's hating. I think it's as much respect as anything. I mean, there is an element of, oh, damn, the Super Bowl champs are going to get the Super Bowl champs are going to get a really good player and they're going to get even better. They're going to get better. What? Chances are. The Baltimores of the world, it always feels like those teams get a little bit better this time of the year. So I wouldn't be too concerned about it. Primetime says if the Chiefs had drafted Jonathan Taylor, yeah, that's the point. But running backs get talked about a little bit different whenever they don't work. It's an indictment on the draft. But you don't hear that with any other position. Like receivers bust all the time. But a running back does, and it's like the end all be all. But if you look at what Kansas City did in drafting Clyde Edwards-Helaire, first of all, that first game against the Texans looked pretty effing good. But they took Edwards-Helaire at 32. And then you just look at the guys that went after him. T. Higgins, Michael Pittman. I mean, even DeAndre Swift. Like, if they would have taken DeAndre Swift, who the hell knows what DeAndre Swift does with the Chiefs? Then Taylor. Trevon Diggs. Cam Akers, who knows what he does there? J.K. Dobbins. A.J. Dillon. Like, there were a lot of good running backs that probably could have done some damage in Kansas City with those surroundings. Drafted the wrong guy. Drafted the wrong guy. Just kind of how it goes. Sometimes that's the way the draft go. Caserio said it's 50%. I think it might even be harder than that. I think he's kind of selling himself short in the difficulty of the task. We talk about it a lot. We criticize it a lot. We react to it a lot, but I'm damn sure not saying it's easy. But we'll get to talk to D'Amico on Monday. Happy Easter to everyone, however you celebrate it, whether you do or don't. Enjoy the weekend. It's always a fun, laid-back weekend. If you're making brisket, salute to you. Hopefully you enjoy that. I will not be making brisket. I will not be eating brisket. But I will be eating pizza the 26th, the third day of the draft, 11 a.m., right there at Karbach in the Biergarten at Pizza and Pints. Appreciate y'all for coming through. This one's a little bit shorter. Subscribe, like, right along. It's been a long ass week. And then next week, it's going to be draft week. And we're going to have less than a handful of shows before we really get it going. Appreciate y'all for coming through. Remember, like the damn video. And always remember, when it comes to this Texan stuff, whether you like brisket, whether you don't, whether you're taking a running back or you're not, whether you're trading back, whether you're a bunch of choir boys that are unwilling to take risks when it comes to this Texan stuff, we're all in it together. Appreciate y'all for rolling through.
In the headlock, localized every time, can't stop, won't stop. Yeah, we top two and we not too plugged in daily digital on YouTube. We got taste for days, opinions to give, we got takeaways. If it's up, then it's up. We number one. You don't need to try your luck. Locker room, yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk, yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize, every angle's what we really do. We the source, we the pulse of the city too.